Okay,
All right, let's bring the meeting to order, whatever time it is. I don't know.
6:06.
6:06.
All right, Mike, have you heard from the road foreman?
Yes, I talked to him yesterday. He said the overhead door went south. So he had called up overhead door company. They're coming up to fix it. It's gonna be around $1,400
Yeah.
is what they told him. I think the big thing, well, a couple big things. He said on that grant business, last meeting, I think we talked about two different grants, two different roads.
Yeah.
But he's decided what he would like to do is do the Russell Road grant up top that we'd already talked about, and then do from Mike O'Donnell's down through to the ditch. And he talked to Rita, and she said that he could combine them into one or something, and that would work. And he just wants to know from us whether that's okay. And instead of getting two separate grants, we'd get one bigger one.
But we still are going to do the one on Dickerman Hill, though. So we're going to have two, what do you call it? Some matching parts to come up with in 1 year.
Wow. That's yes.
And I'm not against it. I'm just saying we gotta
Yeah.
expect that for instead of 10,000 or whatever, we're going to spend 20,000.
Right. But he wanted to wrap this Russell Road thing into one.
Right.
While we were right there.
Does it change our matching numbers at all? Or is it like instead of us having to come up with two $10,000 matching numbers, it's just one big 20?
No, I think it was like a $25,000 grant roughly. And so we're going to have to come up with 10 for the whole Russell Road,
Yeah.
if I understood him correctly.
Right. Yeah, but
If it's
I
one
don't
big
know if
one,
this
though,
is correct. I don't know if this is correct, but our minutes from last meeting said the town needs to put in 10% of the 10,000.
Yeah, that's not correct.
Okay.
I mean, I picked that up in the minutes that I think that should be 10,000 and not 10%. Or, I mean,
Okay.
it's 10%, but it's not 10% of the matching part.
Of 100,000.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did update that because I talked to Laura Ginsburg there and she clarified that. So, and there should be a copy with the clarification in it, but I don't know if I sent that out. I'll look it up on my emails there.
why
Okay.
was Laura involved?
She gave the report on the grants. She said that Laura said that those, or maybe no, I guess that was,
She gave a report on the planning commission stuff in this meeting.
That was the planning commission
oh,
stuff.
planning commission. Okay. All right, sorry. But Gary, then you clarified that for me, right?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were out in the hayfield there. Yakking.
All right.
So, Mike, do you have any idea of,
Maybe I better get back to Rodney and get this clarified, because I thought from talking to him that he wanted to just do everything on Russell Road.
Oh,
And
I think he did. I think he does. But just like
So-
you explained it, that this is gonna be, instead of two pieces below O'Donnell's and by Laura Young's, it's just gonna be one big job,
Right,
as if it was contiguous.
right. But I guess I didn't ask him how much money was involved. So I don't know if it's gonna be another $100,000 grant or what.
No, for some reason, I think it's gonna be like 25,000 or 22 or
That's what I
something.
was thinking.
That's commonly what those grants are.
And if we gotta come up, so
Right.
would we have to come up with 10% of that or $10,000?
Well, that doesn't make sense for 10,000. 10% of 25 would be 2,500.
Right,
So I don't know the answer to that.
nor do I.
Is this a Better Back Roads thing?
It is.
Do you remember on Monarch what the town percentage was, Gary, just ballpark wise?
I don't, nope. But he said that, Rodney said that even though it's a Better Back Roads grant, that Rita at Two Rivers would take care of all the paperwork.
Right. Rodney wanted me to ask Mariah if she would deal with it. Email the stuff down to Rita. And Mariah said she would if Rodney brought it into her.
Mhm.
And he had talked to Rita, and he'd talked to that other guy whose name I can't think of. And they were both on board with the whole thing and said there would be no problem
Mhm.
that they could see getting the grants.
So just because I'm sitting in the office, so I have access to a lot of things. One of our last Better Back Roads grant, just because this is what you're looking at, it required a match of 5,000 and then a 20%, or I guess the 5,000 was a 20% match. So we had to pay 20%,
Okay.
and then they paid the rest. That was for the Monarch Hill project.
So that would have been a total of 25,000 spent.
Yeah.
So if you would assume that that's this one he's talking about now is the same, we'd have to come up with $5,000. So maybe in the end, what he's talking about, the 10,000 is the combination of Dickerman Hill and this one. Would
Right,
5,000 to 10,000.
Oh,
like
maybe.
225s.
Right.
And that would include Dickerman too.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Well, I guess I better get clarified here. I'll give him a call in the morning and get that stuff straightened out.
I mean, I would defer to Rodney since he's dealt with Two Rivers, and if he's comfortable with the way this is
Yeah,
going
but
forward.
I want to call Rodney and make sure I understand what we're doing and what we're paying.
Yeah. We just got a budget for it.
Right.
Because this won't happen until next fiscal year.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe the Dickerman Hill one might happen this fiscal year, but I'm not sure about the other one.
Right. Because I think he had the Russell Road on for next summer, for next fiscal year.
Right.
So
Okay.
we still gotta sign the paperwork by the 18th. Are we gonna have another meeting before the 18th?
I'll just call you up.
Well, we ought to make a
I'll-
decision tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Well-
Okay.
I mean, we ought to vote on it tonight pending that it's all on the up and up and we're thinking we know what we're
Okay.
talking about.
Okay. I make a motion that we go ahead with grants. Pending figuring out exactly what they are.
Well, I guess in the end, if it turns out that it's not something we want, we can just not sign the paperwork.
Right.
What do you think, John? Is that okay?
No, I think that's fine. Yeah, it seems unlikely we would turn down a grant, but to me, it just seems more technical, whether it's one big lumped one
Right.
or whether it's divided into two.
Well, whether it's two, yes.
Right. It doesn't sound like it's
That's kind of what I want to figure out.
buy one, get one free. It's just, maybe it's just easier for BOGO, right? Rodney and Two Rivers just to do it this way.
Okay, did you second that, John?
I did.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right. Second big thing, Rodney would like the three of us to come down to the town garage at some point and meet with him and look at the lean-to shed, because he wants to take that down and put a more permanent building there to store stuff in. And he also talked about moving his office out there. So we got to make a date for that sometime.
Sure. And when I talked to him last, he said it wasn't like he's pushing to get that done this year or even next year, but we just got to get started on it. So in 2 or 3 or 4 years,
Right.
we can get it done.
That's what I told him. We ought to get somebody in there and give us an idea what it's going to cost,
Right. I mean, because it could be what, $50,000 or $75,000 or $100,000 or something to do it right. I mean, I don't know.
Wow. You get a bunch of concrete in there and
Right.
you're going to have a bunch of money in there.
Yep.
Okay. So anyways, I guess we got to set a date to when to meet with him. I guess that's up to you guys. Or up to the chairman.
Well, I'm fairly flexible, but I don't know about you, Mike. You're a working man, so
Well, this I can sneak out usually.
well, either that or on a Saturday afternoon after you get out of work or something, you can sneak
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. If Rodney's around.
Well, when you talk to him tomorrow, well, I don't know, either that or we can just do it during the week.
Well, I'm gonna call him in the morning and I'll ask him what works best for him. And then I'll get hold of you guys.
Okay,
Okay.
works for me.
He thought, because I asked him if he had any budget concerns, and he thought that we were supposed to trade the ton truck here.
It could be. I haven't got my list.
I
in
don't
front of me.
know. You haven't got your list, okay?
No, it's down cellar.
But he said he thought that was up for replacing. And I asked him if he had any idea what he thought it might cost, and he said, well, if you put down 100,000, you probably wouldn't be too far off.
Yeah.
Which is probably he's correct. So I don't know if we want to include that in the budget right now, or if you want to look at your list, machinery replacement list, and before we include it.
So
We should have money anyway.
I was gonna say that'll come out of the equipment fund, and we just put 106,000 in for this year.
And we had a little tiny bit left, didn't we? I mean, not much.
It was tiny, but yeah, there was $3,000 in there.
Yeah.
And then, but we put 106,000 in every year.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's gonna cost 100 grand. It's already in there.
there.
Unless there's something else we have to replace as well.
I don't think there is.
Well, that's
So what-
I was,
Go ahead, John.
How old's the 1 ton? Are we on like a, what, like 6-year cycle or something with those?
he
Oh.
must be 6, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
It's not,
Although
a-
I remember us getting
Yeah.
it. So.
you know,
I feel like it's not that old.
I know, and it's just been in the shop so much, so the warranties probably come to an end, so maybe that's why it makes sense just to keep re-upping.
anyway, something to think about. So we ought to, I'll get my list out and we'll just see, but
Okay. And he said he thought that we ought to up the contract trucking a little bit. Not knowing what diesel fuel or anything will be next year, to haul in stones.
have you any, or has anyone heard what the price of fuel is projected to be next year?
No.
have-
No,
I think it,
I think we're gonna have to wait until this presidential thing sugars off before we have any idea. I don't know.
One guy told me it would be $10 a gallon for diesel fuel next year. And I cringe at that thought.
Well, I do too, but I've seen it happen before, so go from $2 to $4.
Right.
Rodney was talking about that when we were down there the other day, Gary, and
Yeah.
I think his thinking also was that, we only have the one big, what is it, 8-wheeler, 10-wheeler, and like John Smith has a bunch of those 8-wheeler. Yeah, they're doing a wheelie all the way back from Chelsea. And they're just not, like, our trucks just aren't made to really do long hauls of
Right.
big loads like that. So that to me makes sense.
Becky, do you know how much we have for contract work now?
So yeah. I believe we haven't used any contract services that I'm aware of yet.
Yeah, like
So-
$30,000.
Yeah, so there's still the 30,000 in there. But so
Where's that?
here's
Where's that under?
it's under it's under highway maintenance,
I'll be right back.
where all the trucks are and things. The question is though is
Oh yeah, way down the bottom.
yeah,
Yeah,
are-
we spent 27,000 and we budgeted 30.
this year?
That's what it says on your report. That's what I'm going by.
But we've certainly used John Smith a bunch, and we've used Matt Loftus too. I
Yeah,
think.
we were gonna have to give him about 30,000.
So, but I've taken all of those out of like what they were trucking. So I think that came out of gravel.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
Where-
I got right here line 5-30-450 contract services, budget 30,000, actual spent 26,913.
Is that for last year? Or is that our current year?
Actual fiscal year 21.
Because I think that was FY19.
This is dated- this is dated-
And then
okay.
Because right now in our current budget, we have not, I don't have anything in there.
Okay.
So like the fiscal year we're in, like all Matt's work has been taken care of by grants then? And all John Smith's hauling has been done on the gravel?
Have we paid Matt this fiscal year?
Maybe not. I don't know, because he did the work in, well, when did he do that work? I think he must have, because it was in the fall.
some-
he finished.
He did some Falls Hill work. Yeah, that was a
Right.
while ago.
That came out of grants.
Yep. Maybe.
That was, yeah, because that was under the Falls Hill culvert ditching.
Yep.
And then, yeah. Put all of that under grant work unless we wanna,
And then John Smith is,
so John Smith, I believe, gravel because he was trucking gravel. I can change that if you guys want it to be different.
but just the way like Pickett and Sand, we had put them essentially.
Why
Okay.
wouldn't it be?
Well, I think Smith there was hauling sand, so I think it came out of the sand budget, and then he just hauled a bunch of gravel for us.
Smith was hauling stones and all.
All right, anyway, we had 30,000 budgeted for contracted services, so Rodney wants more than that, or should we just stay at the 30,000 and take the contracted
Well, if we
services?
aren't gonna use it, if we aren't gonna use that money, we can just dump it onto the gravel, sand and gravel. Cause
Well,
I'm not understanding what's coming out of there if we aren't using it for Smith and Matt Loftus.
So we usually use it for Smith and Matt Loftus when they do jobs for us that aren't, I mean, this is where it's hard in accounting. Do you account for grant work? Even though it's not budgeted?
So like the town office embankment that Matt did, that was contract work, right?
That was contract work. But that actually came out, I think, out of the general fund.
well, wasn't it capital? improvement?
That one came out of someplace else. But yes, when he does like culvert work that's not for a grant, that would come out of contracted services.
Yeah.
But for instance, if, say we had a flood and we had to hire Matt or someone else to fix our flood and then wait a year for FEMA money, wouldn't that come in handy to have that money to tide us over until we get the FEMA money back? Is that part of the logic or is it not?
So the reason I separate it out is to track it for grant purposes when we're looking to say how much did we spend on grants.
Mhm.
But I don't have to do it that way. It's rather hard to track grant money because it's not always earmarked that way. I can not use those lines. But it makes it easier when you look at what's coming in for grant money to see what went out for grant money.
Yeah. Well, the
So
question, Go ahead, John.
Oh, I just wanted to say, the COVID struck our town garage and someone like Matt had to fill in. Would that be contracted work?
So no, because then we would have to hire him as an employee
Oh,
if he wants to plow our roads.
we can't do subcontractor contracted work? Or
That
because
gets
of insurance, we might not be able to, right?
Well, it actually gets into the weird employment laws,
Mm-hmm.
because he would be doing something that we normally pay employees to do. If he were doing something that we don't, like when he works with the excavator, then he can bill that as, subcontractor work. But if he were to do something for us that an employee we currently pay does, we would have to pay him as an employee.
Well, for instance, if he was plowing a road with his own truck, then he could be contracted services, couldn't he?
I don't know. We're getting iffy, because I know Timmy Higgins tried to do that.
Ah,
'Cause he was going to be paid as an employee, and I was like, you guys are, that's, skating the edge of employment law, because I don't know. That one's a little iffy to me.
okay,
Just
well,
because the insurances, everything goes by the idea that an employee, because we pay our employees to plow our roads, anyone that we were to then pay to plow our roads would have to be paid as an employee.
gotcha. Well, let's get back to the question at hand then. Do we want to increase the contracted work, contracted services budget for this coming year?
Well, that brings up that
You
question.
want
of-
to just do hit and, you just want to do this hit and miss, or do you want to start at the top and work down through?
No, we were just discussing this
On
as
your
part of Rodney's thing. I didn't intend to do,
Then I think what he would want to do is increase the sand and gravel. What he was worried about was the trucking.
mhm,
He wasn't worried about the amount of sand and gravel. He was just worried about the amount that we will have to pay
Yeah.
to truck it in.
I
And if
think-
that's coming out of sand and gravel, then we would have to increase sand and gravel account.
right.
Becky, do we have a sort of ballpark number then on how much our town crew, runs to McCullough's or Tucker's to get material? Because it sounds like that's what Rodney would like, to replace some of those runs with contracted services.
So I think, what he,
No, I don't think so, John.
yeah, no,
I
I don't
think-
think those ones. He's like talking
think-
about when we contracted out to buy a whole bunch of gravel and we prepaid it,
Yeah.
and then they hired Smith to truck all of the gravel that we prepaid.
But you said that was falling under the sand and gravel salt budgets.
So yeah, I think we definitely, I think it should stay in those budgets and we should increase those. I can tell you what was spent.
What he's talking about, John,
Hold
what
on.
he's talking about, John, the sand and gravel that we hire trucked in, he's not gonna have them truck any more than normal. It's just that we get this 6,000 yards or whatever from Tucker's that they had Smith haul in. And Rodney's afraid that trucking is going to go up.
Right.
So he wants to increase the sand and gravel line items to cover that. I don't think he's planning on having anything else trucked. It's just he wants to make sure we cover what we normally get.
Right. So we should keep contracted services the same, say, and just increase those material budgets because
Right.
the hidden cost there was
Right.
actually increase in trucking.
So I think,
Right.
sand, I think we did okay on, but gravel, we just paid JL Smith 24,000 to haul.
34.
So I think that's where we need to,
We paid what?
we paid JL Smith 24,000 to haul the gravel from Tucker's. So that may be where we need to increase our budget.
Is that something that just came in?
That was on last week's.
Well, 2 weeks ago or, yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the last round.
So
So you got what that we paid for gravel?
So we just paid the 24,000 for the trucking of the gravel, not the actual gravel.
So on top of the 90,000?
well, I've got here for the actual for 20 is 122,800. Is that correct, Becky?
Well,
For
I
gravel?
got the 11/23 report and it says that we spent 90,667.
Right. So that includes the 24,000.
The 90,000 or the 122?
The 90,000, that's this year's, includes that 24,000
Okay.
for
But
this.
Where'd you get your figure, Gary?
it's off of sheet that Becky gave me that gives me, let's see, fiscal year 20, 19, and 18 for comparisons purposes. And this 122,800 is the actual for the 20 fiscal year, which is the last
Right.
one. And so I guess my
Oh,
question
okay.
is, do we want to increase that on, we budgeted 115,000 for gravel. Do we want to increase it to more than 122?
We did 150 for this year.
I wonder why it doesn't say that on my sheet.
I think it
And
was
we
115
used-
last year.
I'm confused.
With the gravel we've gotten, we've only used 60% of our budget.
Right?
So
We're almost,
my thinking is that we wouldn't increase it. And saying the same thing.
Yeah.
We've used 62%.
so yeah, the last 2 years we had it at 115. We increased it to 150 for this year. And I think 150 is probably
Oh.
good.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I remember that now. And I wouldn't have that on this paper because it's
Right.
for the past.
Right.
You're right.
And we put the sand up 5,000 from last year or
Yeah.
the previous year. And we've only used 62% of that. So I would leave that alone too,
Okay.
even if trucking does go up.
Yeah, because we also we planned for Pickett's to do the sand, and we planned for an increase in that, and then we didn't go with them.
Right.
We actually
Right.
paid less than we were anticipating. So I think those two
Right.
numbers are probably okay.
Well, as long as we're at it, do you want to just go through the rest of the highway?
Sure.
Can Wendy put something up so we could walk through that?
If somebody can email me something, I can share a screen.
You gonna start with highway?
As long as we're there, we can continue.
Okay. Can you send Wendy something,
Yeah.
Becky?
So, yeah, I can send her something.
And we're all looking at the same sheet anyway.
That'd be nice.
No. I had to make sure I give you the right thing. Do you guys want the one that looks at all the years?
Is it gonna be too complicated to do that, or is it okay?
No, no, I just gotta make sure I give you guys the right report that you want to look at.
Yeah.
Um,
I have the one that looks like the past few years, but I don't have the most
Well,
current.
Let's do the one with the past 2 years. The fiscal year 2020 budget and actual, and then the 2021 budget. Then we won't get,
so fiscal year 2020, was actually spent in 2020, what's budgeted for 2021,
right,
That sounds good.
that one?
and then budget fiscal year 2022.
Right, so yeah, okay, I will send that. I also emailed everybody the current budget if you want to look at that as well. But let
Here,
me send this.
Oops.
All right, see if that helps. Oh no, I messed that up.
Not that one?
Hold on. I think that'll just give you the revenue. Let me try that again.
Well, Becky's working on that. We'll change subjects a little bit if you don't mind. I'm reading now the email from Betsy Race about town meeting.
Yeah.
And have you seen it, John?
Yeah,
What do you think about that? I don't know what to do.
I got it.
right.
I got
don't-
it live.
What's that, Mike?
I got it live.
Oh, that you did. What?
Well, her opinion, of course, is to back off until like May or something and have it at the pavilion
Mhm.
down the fairgrounds or something similar.
Ah,
Becky, is this the right
Um,
one? It was hard to tell.
Yeah. That's like it.
Yeah, because I think this one has, no, this
No.
is the one.
Right. let me
Yeah,
read-
that's the right one.
Well, it's the right report. It's for the wrong accounts. Let me put it that way.
Oh,
If we're looking at the highway fund first. And that one just is the revenue account for every single budget I have in my system. Which is probably not what we want to look at.
but back to Betsy Race.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think, not that I want to do it, but I think that we'd be better off this year, just doing an Australian ballot in March at regular town meeting and sucking it up this year and hope that we can have town meeting the next year.
It's an art pen. And it says what size it is on the tip.
John, have you heard any updates from the state?
No, I think that's the first bill that the legislature is going to deal with, about doing either a postponement or Australian ballot. And I think giving towns flexibility as to what they want to do.
Mhm.
And I have to, if we want to explore it, it sounds like already, I think maybe if the state of emergency continues on, it sounded like one provision in one bill we passed last September gave towns flexibility to, I think, push things off. So whatever this new legislation is, it has to not step on the toes of that
All
newly
right.
minted law. But I don't, just seeing where we are now, I don't see how we're going to have a traditional town meeting. So I would be in favor of some sort of postponement. I don't know what that means as far as our town report does. But I certainly don't see it
Well, if
happen
we
first
postpone the
Tuesday
meeting-
in March.
Go ahead,
If
Mike.
we postpone the meeting, then we can postpone the town report.
Right. I would think so.
guess, Theoretically.
Well, it says here that she's got to know ASAP when the town meeting is going to be. But if the town report doesn't go to print till
Well,
the first part of January, why does she need to know now?
Because I think they have to plan and
because
roll it with the printer.
Oh, okay.
if we're gonna have a meeting on the regular day, they gotta get with it right now
Yeah,
to get everything ready. Cause they have to chase everybody around for reports and stuff. If we're
Yeah.
not gonna have the meeting until May, then they got time, then they don't have to have the stuff until the 1st of March or something.
well, it seems to me we could, I don't know why we couldn't get everything ready as if it was going to be town meeting in March and just send out the town reports early, couldn't we? I mean, as if we had a normal year and then have the town meeting actually in May.
Right. And then if we decide to push it back to May, it's gonna be the same town report.
Right.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to keep track of their town report for 2 months. I think you're asking a lot of the town.
Oh, Lord, Becky.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to say too.
Like,
Uh-oh.
I think if you send it in March and we don't need it till May, people are going to want another one, and it'll be too expensive to print a second one for everybody to have another one in May to refresh their memory about what they saw in March.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't even get people to hang on to their tax bills for their taxes. I think I give out about half the town a second tax bill.
Huh.
So I can't imagine anyone would keep their town report for 2 months.
I thought better of Tunbridgeites than that.
Well, I don't know.
All right, let's continue on with this budget thing and mull that town meeting thing as we go.
Gary, just out of curiosity, what was I'm sorry, I didn't hear but just the one comment that you made about sending it out now and the meeting later.
Yeah.
Was there more to this discussion?
A little bit, but nothing of importance. We're just trying to figure out whether we actually legally can change town meeting or not. And if so, when it might be, or whether it be Australian ballot or on the same day or what.
So you need permission to change town meeting date?
I think so.
somebody? Okay,
Is that
Well-
right? Dan?
okay.
I don't know. I mean, certainly there's some towns that have it on Saturdays, for example.
Right.
Right.
And some towns do a combination of Australian ballot and town meeting too. So some of the bigger items, you don't actually have to be at town meeting to vote on it.
Right. I mean, it's over the years, we've talked about changing the town meeting to maybe Saturday or something, and I had just assumed we could just do it. But then I hear on the radio and stuff that the state might give us permission to change it. So then I assumed that the state had more control over us than I thought.
Do you
I-
have another meeting in December?
Yep.
Okay, so you could find all of this stuff out and know, and still be able to make a decision in December.
I hope
Yeah.
so. Yeah. I'd like to.
Okay,
And-
because as I said in my email, with our town report
Yep.
schedule, we really need to know this month.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. Well, I'll try to find out what's actually in this legislation because I doubt it's going to change a huge amount.
But Betsy, even if we decide to have the meeting in May, don't you think that you could just go along like you normally do? And print a town report for March?
There wouldn't be as much pressure on them to get it out in the mail, out the door by a certain date if we
Right.
decide to have it in May. Like they have to have it in people's hands at least, I think, 10 days ahead of time, which puts their schedule on like a really tight sort of there are certain days they have to be done by to make sure those things are.
Yeah, but
We-
it doesn't make any difference whether it's 10 days before the 1st of March or 10 days before the 1st of May.
Right, but if they don't have to have it out for a meeting in March, then they don't have to rush that and they
Right.
can put it out maybe so that it's in people's hands by normal meeting day. And that's okay because we're not having a meeting. But if we have a legal meeting happening, and it has to be there 10 days before.
By the way, in the town report is the warning for the town meeting
But
and your agenda and all of that.
but that
Right.
isn't the official warning though, I don't think.
Well, they also post 130 days ahead in 3 places like they have to do.
Right.
Again, I guess I go with Becky, you get a town report in March and don't have a meeting till May. It's like, they're not gonna know where their town report is, a lot of people. They're gonna whatever. I don't know. I just don't like I personally don't like the sequence, but it sounds like you could make a decision by your next meeting in December, though.
Well, let's really try to do that then.
Yeah. Gary, the school board changed their annual. I'm going to go back in my mind. I know that FBUD, of course, had to change their annual school board meeting. I don't recall hearing anything about having to get permission. It's just that they had to follow all the rules around, it's being warned so many days in advance and all of that, all of those pieces. And then the school report out in time so many days before that meeting and all of that. So then we were coordinating. Because you remember last year they had a March, end of March school board meeting?
Right. It seems like we could publicize
did.
we could publicize it enough so people would understand they wouldn't show up at the school on the second day of March. Hopefully, if we changed it.
Right.
Well, it seems like just from what we're talking about, every deadline and the actual town meeting could be pushed back exactly 2 months. Like say we have it, the first Tuesday in May, and then work backwards from that. So
yeah,
that's true.
If we make it in May, I would make it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Just because March, the second Tuesday or the first Tuesday in March is set aside. Everybody has that day off if they work in Vermont. But if we push it back to May, that's not going to be the case. So I think people will feel like they won't be able to go if we do it on, say, a Tuesday. So if we're going to push it back to May, I would do it on like a Saturday.
yeah.
Hey, and you have it down on the fairgrounds. You just start a whole new tradition, you guys.
Yeah. I
Be
agree.
awesome. It's awesome.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll leave the conversation alone now so you can go back to budget.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll see you guys. I'll wait till your next meeting and see what
2 weeks
happens.
now.
Is there anything I can do research for you? You're all set.
Don't know.
We'll find out.
Okay, thanks, John.
I wonder how they do Australian ballot. I mean, just thinking of the things we vote for too, it seems tricky if, something like one of the elected officials in town, you'd have to get people knowing they're going to run for a spot, pretty far in advance, right? If we were going to do ballots and get them out as opposed to the night before or even day of.
Randolph
There's a time.
Randolph does everything Australian ballot. The only reason you go to town meeting is just to hash stuff over. There's no decisions made there.
Huh.
It's all Australian ballot. I don't know how they handle it, but
to get on the ballot, you have to. Well, I'm sure they're not. They don't have to get signatures or anything, but I think they have to register to be on the ballot at least before it would go to print. So it would have to be something like 21 days ahead of time. So we'd have to get people thinking about who wants to be on the ballot if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I think probably once towns get used to it, it's not so difficult. But boy, the first time this year would be really hard.
It'd be interesting.
Or next year.
I've just tuned in. Can you hear me there?
Can. How you doing, Todd?
Okay, Gary, how are you?
I'm okay.
I wasn't at the beginning of the meeting. Did you have all the cows in on time?
For once, yes.
That's good. Hey, I wanted to jump in here after my radio show wrapped up just to say that, and it's good that we're going to discuss this at your next meeting as well, as far as setting a date for the town meeting. But my main interest, I'm sure a lot of other residents of Tunbridge, is to, at least despite these difficult times, to have an avenue for the most feedback, input on the various issues that will be on the town warning. And I'm not so sure the Australian ballot way, which would be a significant change, even if it was only for 1 year, is the way to go. And I'll probably chime in or in a couple of weeks. But if I think that option is open to hold the meeting at a much later date, much later meaning spring, and as we talked about before, having a potential outside meeting with a roving mic so that people can ask questions in real time and actually get enough feedback so that the voting is a lot more informed than it would be in an Australian ballot situation.
Yeah, that would work. Potentially.
Yeah, potentially.
All right, anything more, Todd?
Nope, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in, and thanks for doing all the work down there, everybody. And I'll be here in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Tom.
Take care. All right, let's start on this budget thing.
Okay. You want to hear what
Yeah,
I got? Starting on the highway.
yeah.
I'd like to bump the foreman and the road crew up 4%.
Right.
4%?
Becky doesn't like that. It's too much.
All right.
I'm just making suggestions.
Fine. That's fine. I had it done at the COLA, but I can go look at what 4% would look like.
Well, I already know. So, and I wanted to do the garage cleaner. I think we got to double that, which
Yeah,
would bring it up to 1,000.
Yeah, because she's doing 2 hours. I think
And
she's
then,
doing more than double.
yeah, well, I figured she was down for 490. I put it up to 1,000.
Yeah.
That would a little more than double it.
Yeah.
Becky, what was the
Yeah.
COLA? Was it?
It's 1.3%.
Okay.
1.3.
And what was our raise for the crew last year? Percentage wise, do we know?
So
It was-
last year, I think it went up. Do we raise it everybody went up $1.
Yeah. And Jim went up $3, I think.
Right, yeah.
Jim, I
Yeah,
think
but-
went up like $5.
Oh, but it didn't go up a percentage anyway. It was just a dollar amount.
Yeah, I think we raised them. Well, I can look. Let me look.
Where did you come up with the 4 figure, Mike?
It dropped down out of the sky.
Okay.
It's roughly $10,000 more
Yep.
in wages. You know, gross over the whole thing.
Right.
I just figured we could save $10,000 somewhere else. Plus, I think we're going to save more than that on insurances. So I just thought, blow it on them.
It's not a bad idea.
Because I don't want to see them go somewhere else.
Right.
I agree.
So last year, I think we increased them by COLA plus $1. And then Jim was COLA plus 3.5, $3.50. So do you want to do it 4%? Is that what we want to do?
Okay with me.
Well, that was a suggestion.
All right. Let me see what those numbers will pan out to.
Yeah, if we knew what COLA plus $1 was for any of them, just to give us some sort of ballpark on, is that, 3%? Is that 7%? What is that?
Okay. So COLA, if we just look at Larry, 2115 is what COLA is. So
Look a little hard.
what?
It's probably different for everybody, but even if we pick Rodney or Larry or Thomas, just
So that
When
would be
was-
about like a 6% raise if you go COLA plus $1.
okay, that's helpful.
I mean, that's rough. I just chose Larry because he's kind of in the middle, but
Right. So that sounds like something reasonable to shoot for, the 4%.
but if we want to do 4%,
Probably like COLA plus 60 cents or something like that.
so 4% just raises. So for Larry, that would only raise him about 50 cents.
Yeah.
$0.57 to be exact.
Well, we can do more than that.
Do you want me to see what that looks like for the whole
It's
year?
good out there.
So it's only gonna raise him like $1,200 for the year at 4%.
And that's Larry. You're still figuring on?
Yeah.
Well, if all things were equal, then then all four of them, all four employee or road crew, that would be less than $5,000 total.
Wait, I lied.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. So 4%, that's that, that's that. We'll raise him just about $2,000.
2,000. Okay. When you get all around, that'll take up most of the 10,000.
Yeah.
Well, that was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, we and with the FICA thing, it was roughly $10,000,
Yeah.
and we can easily save that on grading because we shouldn't.
I didn't understand some of that. It cut out. But we are going to save that in healthcare.
Well, okay, so let's make it the 4% then.
Okay.
Sounds easy enough.
If you're looking at both road foreman and road crew wages, right, it's a little over 200,000. So, right, 4% of that is 8,000 and change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Move down your list, Mike.
Well, like I said, I did garage cleaner. I doubled that.
Yeah.
To 1,000. And then down on the health insurance and stuff, Becky will have to
Right.
throw that out because we changed. I think we're going to save some money there, right?
Yes, we will.
Like changing company.
I just got to find the right.
Do you have any figures for that?
Yeah, hold on. I just. Those are not the right ones. Hold on. You guys can move on to other ones while I figure that out.
Mike, who are the
Um,
other
If we-
town employees who would be up for the COLA plus 4% or the 4% increase, not COLA plus 4%?
I just put it down for road crew.
Okay. Were we having
Um,
Mariah come
If
in
you want to
too?
go through. Well, I couldn't remember what our arrangement was with her, but
Right. She mentioned the 90 days, so.
she we'll have to look back in the minutes on that.
Yeah, we should,
But
Wendy,
I did
you
ask
should-
her today if she would
we should get her on the agenda for next meeting.
The next meeting, okay.
if you go drop down to highway maintenance, I cut the maintenance down by 5,000. We've only used $200 so far this year out of the 10,000. He's going to put in a $1,400 door, and unless there's something else I don't know about. Rodney didn't say anything.
Well, didn't he say, maybe it was to me or you or somebody, that he thought maybe just level fund basically the whole budget? And,
Well, we can do that. But we don't have to put in $20,000 for grader maintenance.
right. We shouldn't
I
have
mean,
to.
I dropped that to 10 and I don't see why you couldn't drop it to 5.
I would think 5 would be fine. And if we do, for instance, get a new 1-ton, we shouldn't have to have a whole lot of maintenance on that.
Right. And we got the Dodge in for 6,000.
Right,
So that would go to the new truck.
right.
So that would be money kicking around.
Right.
So I think, I guess I'd level fund everything except for the grader. And I'd drop that to 5,000.
Yep.
So things like the tires and plow blades and things like that, that warranty wouldn't cover, do those have to be replaced annually, or those are good for a while?
Well, the tires have to be annually, but like plow blades would be underneath snow plows, not trucks.
Right.
Well, like the grader,
Right.
edges on the grader. If I don't know how often those get updated.
Well, they get updated fairly often, but I don't think it would be. I mean, theoretically, we wouldn't be putting any money into that grader
Right.
except to change oil.
So the tires are good for how long?
Oh, Christ.
Years.
Be good for 5 years.
Okay, good.
The only thing, like you said, you'd have to get cutting edges, and those are expensive, but I think you could buy quite a few for $5,000.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just really true maintenance of oil and filters and things like that, greasing.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay, well, we could move on to the next page, I guess.
Of course, you never know. And I just level funded everything right through.
Do we have the grants in there?
They're in a different section.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's down toward the bottom. There's some grant materials.
But I'm not sure you guys want to fund those, because those,
Right.
that you can't anticipate what we're gonna get in grants, so I don't know if we want to fund that
Well,
stuff because we get money back from them.
How's that traditionally done? If we don't know we're going to get the grant, but if we do and it falls in that fiscal year and we have matching responsibilities, how do you fund for that? How do you put that in a budget?
That's the thing. I'm not really sure how you would fund for that. I mean,
Just do it, I guess.
You could make a line item for, grant matching funds, and then.
but then how do you decide what's
Yeah,
matching?
We got grant materials, grant work,
Right.
better back roads.
Yeah, well, that was when I thought that they were actually going to tell me what they were doing for each one and label things, but they're not that good.
So those are just actuals though, so we didn't budget for any of that.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't budget for any of that. That's really more for me to be able to track
Yeah.
how we spend stuff. But
So
as
where
far
does,
as budgeting, I think you'd have to put it in the actual budget. Like if you think we're gonna, I don't know.
Where- so Becky, for example, the Monarch Hill Better Back Roads grant work that we were on the hook for, where did that money come out of? The town's
So,
slice.
so I put it in a line item by itself so that we could see what we spent. But essentially that money is coming out of our regular budget.
In what line item?
Well, a lot of times it's just in-kind work. It's
Yeah,
our trucks and our guys are hauling the materials that have been paid for by the grant or will be
Yeah.
paid for. And so that's how we we don't actually write a check for it. We just provide the work and the manpower.
right.
I
Which
see,
is
yeah.
why it's really hard to budget for because, you know, that 5,000 might come out of, you know, what we paid in payroll.
And
Right.
like, for instance, stone for ditching just comes out of our gravel budget, I suspect, and then it gets reimbursed basically from the grant. if you
Yeah.
Call it that way.
I get it.
So, I mean, that line item is more so that we can just see what we're spending for in grant work.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's also very hard to track because there are things that, because I don't do the actual expenses for the grant, you know, there's gravel that they bought, you know, in the spring and used for a grant in the fall. So it's really hard to track all those grant expenses and put them in the right place.
And we can essentially bill ourselves. I mean, so if we say, oh, we took the road crew away from their regular work, spent 3 days, you know, the entire road crew spent 3 days on Monarch Hill doing grant work, we can figure what that cost the town
Right.
Yeah.
in kind.
So yeah, when they're doing that, they take all of their hours, they take the hours from the machines themselves that they
Okay.
use. I mean, there's a lot that goes into figuring out the cost.
Okay, then I
Well,
guess
all
we
the
don't
time.
add those.
Right.
Usually,
Is that enough on that page? Seems like we've covered
Yeah.
basically everything.
So just level fund, I guess.
Right.
can
So
I get
that-
back to you guys about the health insurance? Because that's gonna take some time to figure out
Sure.
the exact one. And I'd rather figure it out fairly close.
So I guess we don't know if diesel's gonna go up or not, but we cut it down.
We didn't cut diesel down, did we?
Well, from 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, from 2 years ago, but it's still $50,000.
Right.
And the
And we
actual-
didn't use, we've only used $10,000 so far.
but we used,
We're only at 18% of our budget, so.
yeah, but for the last fiscal year, we used 45,293.
Right, so we're still under.
So yeah, so we still got some wiggle room if fuel goes up 25 cents or something.
Okay, that's good.
So we still want to put the same amount toward paving this fiscal
Yeah,
year, 45, is it?
yeah.
Got my little magnifying glass. See it? It's, whoops, there. Oh, okay.
Can you drive us ahead, Wendy? Or is this Becky doing this?
No, that's Wendy.
Should be it, shouldn't it? So that's the total highway there.
What about disaster relief? Do you guys want to leave that one alone this year?
All right.
The what?
What is it at?
The very last one on the list. Upper, well, to me, it's on the upper right side. It says disaster relief.
Oh,
So we budgeted 25,000 last year to put some money in it, and then we said
Yeah.
essentially any surplus, or we could fund it with, yeah, if we have surplus, we can put that there.
Do we have a surplus?
then we ought to put that at 0 then, right?
Yeah, so essentially we would put that at 0.
Because
What do we have in that fund now?
Because you don't.
We have 25,000 in that fund right now.
And that came from
Because we
surplus
just
or a line
started it
item?
last year.
No, last year we had to fund it to give it money.
Yeah,
And then I think we said that we would, if we spent it, we would put the money that we get from those grants into that fund.
oh, right, because it was a sort of FEMA forwarding type thing.
Yeah, so if we have to carry FEMA, for
Right.
2 years. And so essentially, as discussed, we would put like surplus money towards that one.
But I thought, didn't Rodney have some figure?
He did, and I don't remember what it was.
It was more than 25 though.
Yeah,
Well, I
50.
think he would like to have a, like
150,000, wasn't it, or something?
Right, something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd put some money in there. That's a line item, maybe.
What'd you say we put in there last year, Becky? 25 or 23?
So we put 25,000
25.
this year.
Yeah.
Went
Right.
in from tax money. I know Rod doesn't really want to fund it all through tax money, but it's hard to anticipate a surplus or a deficit. And this year is even harder because Lord only knows what's going to happen.
Mhm.
So we can either, put another 25 in there, or we can.
I think that makes sense, given that it's not an expense that ultimately is coming out of the town. It would always be, we hope, reimbursed by FEMA. It's just that we won't have to drain other funds to do disaster relief work.
Exactly.
Yeah, once we get it established, it won't cost us anything.
Right.
Yes. The hope is that eventually it will just be a maintained fund. Like it'll just maintain
Right.
it.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we put 25,000 there?
If that's essentially level funding, right?
And did we change anything else? Just the wages and the health insurance are the only things that are changing?
Other than the change down on the grader.
Okay, what did we change the grader to? Sorry, I was trying to figure things out at that time when that was being.
It went from 20,000 down to 5,000 in maintenance.
And what was the 1-ton truck at?
Oh, man.
So that's at 6,000.
Well, providing we do buy another ton truck in the next fiscal year, we could lower that. But we still ought to have a couple thousand in it.
Yeah.
You want to take it down to 2,000?
Why not?
What are you talking about?
The ton truck. Maintenance.
Maybe 3. So we cut it in half.
Well, you better. Yeah.
Okay, 3's okay, sure.
Oh, it's my phone.
Yeah, you don't want to drop it too much.
And then do we want to increase the backhoe slightly? I mean, I don't think we've been spending hardly anything on it, but or keep it the same since it's relatively new.
It's almost new, so I think,
Keep it at
Keep it-
1,500.
yeah.
Okay.
No, Sharon Academy.
And then the other thing is, do we want to ask the trustees of public funds for money, try for that again, or no?
We can ask.
I think we ought to because, that kind of stuff has been doing pretty good this year. They ought to have made some money.
All right. Any thoughts about what we want to ask for?
What did we ask for 2 years ago?
So we put in the budget for this current year and they froze the budget for this
Right.
current year, which was 15,000, but then the state gave us some extra money for the fact that they weren't giving out grants for certain structure grants.
All
So they
right.
gave every town, I think like 25,000. So if we want to ask again for 15,000 and see if they're willing for that.
What are we
Yeah.
gonna do with that 15,000? Where are we gonna put it in our budget?
So it would go in the trustees of public funds. It would go in our revenue.
Oh, okay. But where, if we get it for revenue, where are we gonna spend it?
So it would relieve what we have to raise in tax money.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, perfect.
Try for that again.
Yep.
All right. Da, 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 da.
And then when would we know whether that's a go or not? Because it's
So
kind of like a grant, right? It's like, we don't know if they'll give us that money.
I don't know. Although they should, because we haven't asked in a really long time. So there's a lot of interest built up in that account. So we can ask. Usually they start doing this in June. So that we'll have the money in July.
But we can ask anytime, can't we?
Yeah, we can.
I mean, we don't have to wait till June. That's just the end of the fiscal year, so they want to have things tidied up.
Well, so it's always weird because they finish theirs in June, but all that money usually ends up in our next fiscal year.
Right.
So, yeah, we can ask at the beginning. We can ask them at any time if they think that they can give us that.
But we're still talking about next fiscal year right
Yeah.
now. So we don't have to ask until June.
Right.
Right.
June's just a good time. And if they are going to give it to us in June, that would be lovely. And then we would have a little extra money to start the year with.
Right. That'd be great.
But do they signal whether they're going to do this or not, say before town meeting or at town meeting?
Oftentimes, yeah, they'll tell us where they're at town meeting. But usually they have their meetings right here in my office. So I'm often listening to them as they're deciding whether they can afford to give people money or not. So I would say June is a good time to ask.
All right. Don't let us forget.
I won't.
Okay, so we don't actually add it as a definite to our revenue then.
Well, I would.
But then we'll be short if they strangely said, no, actually, we're backing up on this.
We would.
Can't we just treat it as unanticipated income, like the state giving us extra money?
The hard part though is that if we want to do it so that we can take it off of taxes,
Right.
we have to put it in now.
Ah, you're right. Well, we aren't done budgeting tonight. I mean, we could, one of us, you, whoever, could call Rob and just say, do you think it's a possibility?
Yeah. Yeah. I can do that.
And if
That'd
they
be
said,
great.
if they said yes, then we go for it. And if they said, I don't know, then we may not. So,
All right. I will ask about that. And I will get insurance squared away for our next meeting.
all right.
Hopefully-
Is that the end of our budgeting process for tonight? I hope.
I think I'm good with that. And then I'll get everything ready for next, hopefully. The tax bills will be out by then and I won't be struggling to get everything done.
All right. Anything else you should speak to us about tonight before you leave?
No, I'm just,
What about dump stuff? You were going to give us an update on the possible stickers.
well, because I'm sitting in the office, I can do that.
This here.
I think we ought to go for the window decals.
I think so too.
Has anybody ever figured out how much they spend on dump tickets a year?
How
Just
much?
your average Tunbridgian spends on dump tickets. I mean,
So I averaged it out about one ticket a month.
like
which
a
seems
$30.
Well, so we can, yeah.
That sounds about right for us. Yeah.
So we could still keep it a 3 sticker system and continue with the color idea if we want to do that. So if we think about 150 decals, which would be 50 of each, that will cost us $289.50. So I think it's such a small cost to get a sticker. But the question is, do we want to keep it so that you can get like a large bag, which is a 42 gallon plus, or a medium bag, which is a 13 gallon, and a small bag, and keep them that way? And then the cost of a small bag sticker would be $120 for the year. The medium bag would be a $240 cost, and then a large bag would be a $360 cost for the year.
Is that commonly how it's done? I never thought about that before.
Well, so right now at our ticket system, we have a $1, a $2, and a $3.
Right. Oh,
So,
I never realized that's what it was about.
yeah. So people who bring just like a grocery,
Right.
Size, like a bathroom trash size, they don't want to, those are those heavy recyclers,
I guess so.
composters that are very conscientious. I mean, they're not going to want to pay $360 a year to use the dump for
Those people.
those people,
Recyclers.
those recyclers. And then there's the people that, want to bring the
Pickup truck.
the pickup truck. So, I think it is worth it for them to pay $360 for the whole year.
Well, let's give it a try.
Okay.
If I could, I'd make a motion.
But
All
then
right.
how does enforcement work though?
So my my theory is that on the sticker itself, there is a space where I would write your family name. It is not going to stop you from trading your ticket, you know, with somebody else, but it at least I think will make people pause because, you know, your name is on the ticket. So if somebody else is giving you their ticket,
Is it a ticket or a sticker?
a sticker. So then the name will be on the sticker that'll go on your car. But
So you'd
because
have-
it's a static decal, it can come off and on.
Oh, okay.
So that's sort of the hesitation. But at the
Right.
same time, that also means that, you know, if you're a 2-car family and one day, you know, you have to run to the dump, you can just take the sticker from the normal car, put it in your car and go.
Right. Yeah. Well, Mike will just have to do some policing if he sees the same sticker coming in twice in a day on
Exactly.
somebody else's car.
Yeah, if he starts to see that same sticker. And I feel like Mike sort of knows the families and,
Right.
you know, it's not a huge sticker. So it's, you know, I'll have to write it nice and big. But
So Becky, how does this work? Say like I buy the Max decal,
okay.
and every week I'm coming with 10 bags of garbage. I'm just getting a really good deal. Is that what's happening?
You're just getting a really good deal. And I don't know how else to fix that in this current time. Maybe we can try it. And if we dramatically start to lose on the dump, we might have to up it or make it so that everybody has to pay. I don't know. I don't know how to do it that's fair.
Right. And that would include, I can bring like unlimited tires or.
So I still think that if you're going to bring tires, you should have to come get like a tire ticket.
Mm.
Because I don't think that should be included in the cost.
Right.
So you're talking about just a ticket like I would buy today, just to deposit your tires there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just keep the $2 ticket, and instead of calling it a dump ticket, we call it a tire ticket.
Yep.
You know, and you can come, you know, if you've got 4 tires, come buy an $8 ticket, you know, however we want to do that. But I think, I don't know how else to do it that's fair. I mean, tires have always been an added expense that you're supposed to pay for. So.
Well, let's just try it, and then people will tell us what we're doing wrong.
Sure they will. And then I think also that, you know, that we should probably somewhere, you know, both at the town offices, at the transfer station, and in the quarterly, kind of write up the rules too, you know, just discouraging abuse. So we don't have, you know, Vermont Wire Forum bringing in a whole truck of you know, box board or trash, or somebody bringing 10 sofas, you know, one weekend, that sort of thing, and filling up the large item roll off. So just to, I mean, it's definitely going to be a kind of honor system, but we should put somewhere that, you know, those who abuse will lose their decal.
I think you can do that. I think if you see someone coming, you know, every, you know, week with huge amounts, you can ask them. I don't know how to make it so that it's not a crazy. I think this is the easiest system for right now. It'll make it more streamlined. No one will have to reach for tickets, but it could be abused severely. And then I think we can say, you know, if this gets really abused, then we won't be able to continue to do it. We can't afford to do it.
Yep.
So, and just remind everybody that, you know, the less they contribute to this process, the more we have to charge in taxes.
Right. And also that I think the town has the right to take away your decal.
Yeah, definitely. If you're, you know, really abusing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I will I will work on that as soon as I'm done with getting the tax bills out.
All right.
Let me do that.
Would we, when would we have a debut of this new system?
So I will try to order the decals like between this week and next week as soon as I can. Because I would like to get it done at least by the end of January. I would
Okay,
like to
great.
give it as fast as we can because people get really grumpy when they can't have access to.
It's true.
Yeah, that's like, I think the biggest source of interesting news I hear is how upset people are about the dump. They can't get a dump ticket, so they've gone somewhere else. So if we, say by the end of January, we have this whole system ready to go, that would be good.
Great.
So maybe I might invite Mike to have a through the window conversation with me about how he sees this best working and write up some rules and get that ready, and I'll order the stickers and things like that.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
All right. It is a plan. Anything else I was supposed to tell you that I haven't
Not that I
done?
know.
Did we make a motion on that, Gary?
We did not. Do you want to make a motion, John? Quick.
I move we empower our treasurer to refigure our transfer station payment system using a new decal to cover an annual dump license, something like that. Or I can reword it.
I second it.
Wendy will write it up. So,
There's an echo in your house.
oh, there's a machine.
Anyway, that sounds like a good motion and a good second to me. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. I will get that going.
I think that's it, Becky.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thank you. Good job.
All right. All right.
Thanks, Becky.
All right. Have a good night, you guys.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
All right, Brenda, I think you're up next.
I don't really have a lot. Wendy invited me to come. Is Mike on this call at all?
I did not call Mike. I can call him now.
Well, anyways, that's the only thing I have. Everybody knows the numbers are going up and on the COVID, and a lot of people are recovering and not having many issues. But if you're being aware, you're aware that our ambulances and the hospitals are getting impacted.
Mhm.
And that everybody needs to have more. They're going to be a little surprised this keeps up.
But do you, Brenda, think that we as a town are doing as much as we can right now?
I think we are. Do you guys know if the town offices are still keeping to a slow crawl down there?
Yeah, well, Mariah's only working there by appointment and on a rare occasion for an hour or so, as far as I know. And Becky's there alternating with listers.
Yeah.
So other than that, I think one of the reasons that Wendy invited me on this, and I've had a little bit of a conversation with John about it, and I want to handle it, as nicely as we can, still as a transfer station.
Yeah.
And we set the standard, the employees and how we present ourselves down there. So we've got to be really careful. And, in all honesty, I don't even know if a bandana, those things are the acceptable piece that's allowed. No one's fit tested with any of this stuff, but we've got to protect the public. And we get, I've been down there, we have people that are lined up who are shouting in each other's windows with no mask on, the usuals, to the next person in there questions whether we should have two of us in there with a mask on. You know,
But
so people go from being nervous to saying it's a hoax.
Right. Wendy, didn't you send an email this morning, Wendy, or someone did, about some old fella that was worried because
Yeah,
of-
somebody by the name of Rodney called and looking to talk to the selectmen. So I called him back, and he had gone several times, has gone down and seen people with no masks. The last time he was down there, he was putting recycling in, and somebody without a mask came to the other side of the recycling and threw in a bunch of bottles. They happened to be liquor bottles, and the guy had no mask on, and all this stuff from the bottles sprayed on on his face.
Huh.
He said if he was younger, he would have thrown them in the recycling, but he's just, you know, the person in the category of there's rules and he wants them enforced.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the same thing that happened with our farmers market. It happens at stores and everything. And so it's hard. I talked to him for a while and I said, well, maybe Mike is just in a very awkward place. I don't know how, as one person, you can enforce anything. People get very mad.
Yeah,
But
there are mixed feelings down there. I'd say that's where most of our tension still is coming from.
And that kind of behavior is just rude. I mean, you don't, slosh somebody with your alcohol bottles, whether it's a pandemic or not. So, how do you police that?
Well,
Yeah,
I've had a
plus he
couple of,
didn't have a mask on. The guy didn't have
Right.
a mask on with
Right.
the alcohol bottle.
and I've had a couple of them come running up to me to help me without their mask on. They're making a point, you really, and smiling at me. I mean, they mean to be helpful, but they think it's a hoax, and, I don't appreciate it. But I
And
think
then he
Mike's
saw
gonna
another-
start. Mike's gonna start it. Mike's gonna be the person who's always, if no one's around him and he wants to have a cigarette or he can get back far enough, the way the governor's got this set up, if we're in public, we're supposed to have a mask on. And it's become more strict. And I think he's gonna have to really be careful with that. And if he wants a cigarette, it's probably gonna have to be around the corner where people can't see him now. And they're becoming very sensitive to it. John, you're still planning on having a visit down there?
Yeah, I'll try to talk to him tomorrow. Brenda, has he had access to, the best mask we have too? Whether it's
I've
comfort or
offered
safety?
him, and he says he's all set with that thing that he has around his neck.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people wear that, and they, it does stop large particles, but it does bother some people because they know it's kind of a joke,
Yeah.
or it's less effective. I shouldn't say it like that. It's less effective than some of the
Right.
things, but I don't want to get into a mask fight with everybody. I just think we have to set a standard down there, and then I don't know how you help Mike out with some of these people, but I think if he starts by always wearing a mask himself,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you guys have any answers of how to help him out, whether we take turns every once in a while and kind of show up and kind of view things, see how it's going. When I went down there, the only one not wearing a mask was Mike.
Right.
Huh.
We've had that.
Are we back to one person at a time? When I went down there, it was one person at a time, but from what this guy was telling me, he's seen more than one person.
It's been two people at a time if they both have a mask. If they don't want to wear a mask, we don't fight or argue with them. We tell they want to, and they're trying to find a fight. And we just say, no, we just got to clear everybody else out and then hold the line up and you go in by yourself.
So then at least that rule should be followed, because from what this guy said, he saw, a couple of times.
Well, we
where it was
probably should
really-
have a good meeting with Mike again. It's, I feel like sometimes I feel like I don't know how to handle this. He's worked so hard down there to get everything all set up. I know he gets pressure from some of his friends.
Oh, yeah.
who think it's all hooey.
No, I think everybody that works in a store has this same situation, so, and I don't know if anybody's ever found a solution.
But he's an employee of the town and he's just gotta follow our guidelines.
Right. I mean, that's the least we can do. I mean, we can't really police bad behavior, unless somebody's really, I think we could have Mike, if he knows the people, he could report to us and we could talk to these people just to say, it's one thing if you're on your own time, but you're in public, and just try to follow the governor's protocols. I don't know. That's about all we can do. We don't have a police force.
Yeah, I don't know any answers either, because I mean, you can talk until you're blue in the face to some people and they just won't do what you want to do. I guess we could have a big burly guy or a police officer there and kick them out of the dump when they come in with no mask. But I mean, where's it going to end?
Gary, I don't think we're trying to stop people from not wearing masks. And I think that's an argument we don't want to have.
Right.
But they've got to wait until we get the people in front of them out of the way.
Right.
And then we close it off. It's all about them. I don't mean to be cynical, but it is all about them.
So
want to make an issue about their rights. They get to have their rights and we don't argue about it. Everybody else is going to wait.
That's okay. We just got to make sure Mike is actually performing
Right.
that part of it for sure. So that's where we got to work on it. So that's okay.
Yeah. And he may need help. I don't know whether he's watching people. The recycling is becoming an issue for him to keep a better lookout. He may find that they're in on top of him before he gets a chance to check on everybody about wearing their mask. The more he doesn't wear a mask, the more other people think, oh, what the heck, I don't have to either.
Right.
It kind of adds to it for him.
We really need another person there, but then that kind of plugs things up even more too. So.
Well, the other person can kind of stand out there and just, we could kind of step it up for a short period of time with a second person.
But who's going to do that?
And see if he needs help. Someone standing there, you got your mask, you're ready to go in. There's still a line once in a while.
Right.
And if you don't have your mask, we just don't argue. We just say, okay, can you hold up for a minute,
Yeah.
please? We'll clear everybody else out. And once they get the system, and they see we're respecting, it would also show the townspeople maybe that we're serious about it.
Okay. So John, are you going to have a talk with Mike then if you can?
Yeah.
tomorrow? Okay.
I'll try to.
Try
Yeah,
to drive that point home.
Brenda, do you know if he's been policing that, if you don't wear a mask, you have to do it by yourself?
He did the day that I went down, was it you and I? No, he did one day when I was talking to him. He walked right up to the next car and said, do you have a mask?
Yeah.
And the person said no. People have been getting a little slack on it lately, I think. And then all of a sudden he gets a rush of everybody being careful. I mean, everybody knows that, it's more around. They don't know what the odds are on them. Are they going to get a mild case or are they going to be the ones dying?
Right.
Or real sick?
Yeah.
So close to the end here. I don't want to find out the hard way.
No, and I mean, the best thing he could do is just wear a mask the whole time, because, I don't think a lot of people are going into Shaw's or Hannaford's without a mask these days.
I agree.
All right. Anything else, Brenda?
No, that's all I have. And give me a holler if you need, if we have to, I don't know, find some volunteers or someone to help down there. Just it's more traffic control and informational, I would say, and less policing thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just-
Any update on the Elger grants?
No, I got my fingers still crossed, they're getting cramped.
Mike wants his sign.
I got paperwork today that says we have the 28th. The Sorry to jump right in, but I did get something in the mail that was sitting on my desk as I walked in to finish up today. From the state about the grant.
No. Becky.
Well, I'm only headed for less than 2 hours, so essentially, yeah. So we have $28,913.
Nice.
What? We
Well,
got the,
that doesn't mean what we may not get that all, but that's what that's what's the award amount.
well, the
So
last one we got was 28,900 and something they said we were eligible for.
yeah, so it says total funds awarded under this action.
I'd say we got it.
So
This came in today.
yeah, well, this was sitting on my desk when I got here this evening, so
And what was the total again? 28,000 what?
913.
Yeah, that's the same letter that we got before that said that's what we're eligible. That's what the town is eligible to max on. That's not the amount that we put in for, I think, Becky, if you remember with Betsy.
I just locked that door, but hold on. We put in it for a similar amount.
Close to it. It was close, but it wasn't quite exactly that.
What was it? Which I don't think I have the total amount because I have just what we put in the last time. In this last round.
Well, I guess when we get a check in the mail, we'll know for sure.
Anyway, it's been approved.
It says approved or eligible.
Awarded. Didn't you say awarded?
Under this action.
Well,
Here's the award amount.
yippee. I'm still not going to be a huge yippee until we see the check.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will keep an eye out for that. It doesn't say matching kind. There's none of that. So
Yeah, this is not a matching fund. This is, just straight up. Hey, one of the things I can add is I think I'm going to get hold of the sign company tomorrow and see if they can send the videos down that teach you how to set up all the sentences on it. I'm going to be scratching my head along with Rodney and everybody else as we try to figure out how to use this thing. So we might as well get it in the mail and start looking at it.
So this is what it says. On the back, it is written, this message is to notify your office that your grant application under Act 137 as of 2020 for the local government expense reimbursement grant has been approved.
Boy, sounds good.
Just to say it, that's what I got. It was sitting on my desk. Today.
We can be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, let's be cautiously, yay.
Yeah.
What I think that means is that for all the expenses we've put in so far, they are going to grant us reimbursement for. Would be what I would say that's for.
That's what I'm hoping too. And like I said, the sign sounds like it's got a little bit of a learning curve, but she said the videos were well done and easy to learn. She reassured me. We'll see.
Well, there you go.
But probably Gary being our master computer.
Tech wizard, yes.
Tech wizard, Gary, you'll be able to just like skim this thing and have it.
Yep.
He'll hack into it. It'll say, visit West Tunbridge.
We could sure use it down at the recycling area now to have a little more direction for people.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing is,
Yeah.
one of the things that's been going through my mind that you guys might know more about is how do we keep this thing from being stolen?
Take the tires off of it
Take the tires off, take the hitch off,
or something. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
a camera on it.
Take
Paint it
one
that tree.
tire off.
One tire.
Yeah.
Mike, can't you buy a ball hitch that locks into the receiver part so you could actually lock it so no one could actually hook up to it easily?
Yeah.
We got to do something like that.
We need to get like a boot on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can see whose house it could drag to.
You can just follow
Well,
that.
this being Tunbridge, someone will come along with their forks on their tractor and pick it up and take it away.
This computer supposedly is so smart. Maybe it can tell us, help, I'm being stolen.
That's
Maybe
Or
it can track it. Maybe it
Yeah, we
has
can
like
just
a
track it.
little-
It'll just
Um,
display it. It'll just display
GPS
help,
system.
help, help.
I'm being kidnapped.
Okay, guys, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you very much, Brenda.
No,
Looking
thank
good.
you. Thanks
All your
for
work
your
looks good.
support.
What's next, Madam AA?
Snow removal
Oh.
around the town buildings. You guys were gonna tell me if you liked that policy and if you wanted me to just call people. Because remember I sent you out that thing that said
Yeah.
for the amount you didn't have, or if you wanted to do a bidding thing. Or call and get like 3 or 4, how many ever.
The policy is fine, but we just need to get someone to actually do the shoveling and the work and figure out what they want to actually, what they would bid on it and what it would cost us.
Okay, so you like the policy, so that's gonna stay the way it is. And then, but do you want like a formal bid process, or do you want me just to call and ask them, like, call like people in town and say,
Solicited bids.
yeah,
At this late date, I think we need to do something like that, because if we advertise in the paper for a few weeks and then it's another week or two before we have another meeting, it'll be clear into January.
just seems like it would be easier just to call and get some.
Right. Do you have
We
any
can put it
idea?
on the website too,
Right.
Oh, that's a good idea.
or Front Porch Forum, just so we always just want to avoid someone saying, I live in town, I didn't even know this was up for.
Right.
Yep. Okay,
But we want to describe what we want as well to the people who are
Right.
prospective shovelers.
was it on that policy exactly what we wanted, or
I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at the policy now.
let me look it up and see what it says?
Oh, if you can, that'd be great. Maybe I could.
Do we do anything at the library? Down and back?
Yes. Yeah, we whoever is in charge shovels the walk up to the front door, both front doors. And then usually Kevin was always the one that would plow down back, but so we need someone to do that.
And then town office and town hall, is it those three?
Yep.
Transfer station? Or the road crew does that?
Road crew does that.
Are we gonna have any, like what? It probably has to be cleared, maybe just for safety reasons, but is anything happening at the town hall this winter as far as COVID goes?
Nothing's supposed to.
Like
So-
legally, I mean, I guess if they're
Oh.
putting in oil, we gotta do that, but
Yeah.
I just wonder legally what would be on the hook for if no one ever actually uses the building. I mean, we don't want probably 10 feet of snow on the front steps, but
Right.
it may not have to be quite as,
Right.
every time it snows kind of thing.
Yeah, and probably the road crew can take care of just pushing the snow around.
And is Judy cleaning it consistently, or because nobody's really there, she just does?
I don't know the answer to that, but no one's supposed to be there, so I suspect she's probably not there all the time cleaning it. And maybe, I mean, I suspect she, just knowing Judy, she probably stops in and checks and makes sure the heat's still working and stuff like that.
Right.
But as far as cleaning goes, she probably does a minimum.
In the budget, she hasn't used very much money for cleaning the town hall.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
assuming she's not spending too much time.
Right,
No. Well, she's so honest. I'm sure she's watching every dollar.
right.
And I'm trying to make it so we can read it. 'Cause it's so small.
Yes, I looked it up and I can't read it.
You got your magnifying glass.
Oh, true. I didn't think about that. Let me try it.
All right, I'll zoom in a little bit on it and see how it goes. And then and maybe Gary with his magnifying glass can. And to get back to the. Can you see that even with your magnifying glass, Gary?
I can kind of pinch it out, but then it gets blurry.
Yeah, I can, but it's not easy.
All right, but basically, like you said, it's a town hall.
Well, like here, it says that under the library building, the maintenance of the library entrance are under the guidelines provided by the trustees of the library. So, I mean, that doesn't necessarily describe what they got to do. So I guess anyone who would want to bid on this would have to talk to the library trustees.
That was probably because of that whole salt issue.
Right. It does say the town hall building is mainly used for
Scheduled events.
The two side and handicap entrances, the front entrance and side emergency exit should be maintained to keep clear of snow and ice regarding regardless if the building is scheduled for use. The building is scheduled for use. It must be checked, blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty good, I guess. But that would give anybody the basics of what they need to know, I guess.
Okay, all right, I'll get that on the.
Yep.
Page forum and.
Get ready for the influx of snow shovelers.
If
I don't
any.
know if Anybody shoveled snow anymore, but maybe there's somebody that does. Okay. And then there's approval of the November 24th minutes.
I found a few flaws in the minutes.
All right,
I found a few flaws in the minute.
here we go.
Well, somebody already mentioned about that 10% part of each grant. Mike maybe did earlier.
Yeah, I don't know why that didn't, I thought I corrected it, but I think this correction didn't save. Need
And
to
on
put
that-
in $10,000, which is 10%, which is $10,000, right?
Oh, just a minute.
We
Can
aren't
you
sure.
see the screen?
That same paragraph just before that says, they can also grant money for hard scrabble for ditching. Hard scrabble's a road, so it should be, capitalized. Hard scrabble.
All right, I can't correct it on here, but I will. All right, hard scrabble.
It just should say, now, did Becky say earlier that it was 5% or was it 10%?
What?
Now, didn't somebody say earlier that it, oh no, I got it wrong. It was 10%. But I think if it just says the town needs to put up 10% and just eliminate the 10,000.
Okay. Okay.
And I think actually the date it needs to be signed by is December 18th, but I can't swear to that. So I guess leave that alone. And the only other thing, well, not the only other thing was it says somewhere right there, the town plan, blah, 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 by TROCT. Is that what it actually is? Two Rivers, Ottaquechee?
No, I think that's the wrong thing.
Because it's T-Rock. But is there a T on the end of it, I guess is my question.
No, I can look that up.
Okay. It just didn't look right.
No.
And the only other thing I had is, I guess it must be later on in the minutes. It says Mike to help inspect oil tank, and it
Right.
just should say Mike Howe.
Mike
Oh, yeah,
Howe.
I didn't know who Mike was.
Right. Could be any old Mike.
And then under that, it says warrants. McFeetris moved to accept warrant. It should be accept warrant.
Oh, sorry, where's that? Warrants, except, yep, okay. Yeah,
I knew you'd never do that.
I have a little bit of a problem with my computer because I can't save things. So I have to go through all these hoops to try to get things saved. And sometimes and the warrants are spelled wrong, but I know I corrected that. So I don't think this is my corrected version here.
Gary, were you the only one who had to sign the deputy fire warden thing?
I don't remember.
Remember
He
we were
said
trying to,
everybody, first he said he would sign it, and then he said it was serious and maybe everybody should sign it.
Oh, okay, that's right.
but I never heard definitively what.
I would think that if one person signed it, being that it's a Vermont deputy fire warden, would be enough, but
Did you sign it?
not yet. I was gonna go in
Okay.
today. I'll go in tomorrow. I'll put it on my list. Because I'll go in and sign the warrants tomorrow too.
Wendy, some of the names, if you go back to the beginning, also were, I think Caitlin McLaughlin is, I think, misspelled. It's Aaron Weed, right? Is her husband.
Yeah.
Billy, you have later, correct. Billy Smith, you just have it down. at
Oh,
the
yeah,
bottom.
without the I.
Yeah. Just double check those when you.
I thought that was Caitlin's. That was what was up on her thing or in an email I had from her.
He's definitely Aaron Weed. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
but I think on an email I
Like-
have with her name, it's that, but I can find out if that's.
Yeah, just double check that. McLaughlin doesn't look right, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think it's McLaughlin.
Yeah, that's what I think. Emily thinks that.
Okay, yeah, because I had that in some email I had, like a personal email from her.
That was that one from back on the first day of April, wasn't it? April Fool's Day, you got that email?
Well, she's in my CSA, so I had got an email and I go, oh, I can check out your last name. And Aaron's last name is Weed, though?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and I see Billy needs an eye
I'll look
in
it
there.
for you right now. MACGLAFLIN.
yeah. And a big
What is
G or G. MAC,
She has it written as a little G here.
I guess a little GLAFLIN.
Yeah.
McLaughlin, it looks like.
Yeah.
FLIN?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a little G. I remember that. Okay. McLaughlin. Okay, with an A.
That's hard in these Zoom things because everybody's got like phone numbers and, first name only and
Well, then
These-
she's like, oh, Aaron's here. And I'm like, damn, I don't know Aaron's name.
right. I know. Well, that was like last night. It was the same thing where there were probably, 5 to 8 people who were, sort of mystery tags on their Zoom Hollywood Square.
All right, did you guys see anything else? Other corrections here?
I didn't.
Oh, that's it, I think.
I'll make the corrections in the spelling
It's T. Rourke, so it's Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission.
Ah,
there. This is the one I can correct. Okay, Two Rivers, Ottaquechee, what?
RC.
Regional Commission.
Yeah.
There you go. That looks better.
Okay. Where's the how thing?
Oh, way at the bottom, right? Right there. Mullen said that Mike. One down. One more down. There you
Oh,
go.
Mike Howe.
Right.
You know, I was like, Mike, there's a lot of Mikes out there. I should have just put Howe. I should have just gone for it. Chances
A
are,
lot of house.
Any old how.
Emily's laughing.
Make
oh
sure,
yeah.
she's
there you
in it.
go.
Make sure she's identified. Emily laughed.
Any old how laughed.
Okay,
Great. I move we accept the minutes.
I second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
What about the warrants? I haven't
I
seen,
haven't seen them.
Becky was gonna send them, but I haven't seen them.
well, she did, I think, but she sent them, I don't know what time, but late.
I guess if you want to look them over and you like them, you can sign them.
Yeah. A whole mess of them, so. So do you want to make that a motion or, I mean, how do you want to do that?
I
Wendy.
make a motion Gary sign the warrants if he deems them proper.
All right, I'll do that tomorrow. Second it,
All right.
John?
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I even spelled warrants right.
We're giving a lot of power to our chair, vice
Yeah.
chair.
Can I edit the warrants too?
Just blank check, he can write himself.
Yeah.
More
blank
money
check.
toward Monarch Hill Road projects?
Yeah.
Bike path.
Greater Monarch Road Development Project. Some nifty acronym.
The administrative assistant might be
Yeah, she'd benefit.
in favor of this.
Oh, yeah. Monarch Hill Road.
All right, anything else on the agenda?
So we got Mariah next time we got to deal with, and then the general fund,
And town. meeting
general
plan.
budget.
General budget you want on there?
Yes.
And then town meeting plans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put that back on. Oh, I know one thing. So Eve sent a letter saying that for their library budget, they're gonna be voting on it because you said to update it for any costs there, building costs.
Yep.
But they're not gonna be able to vote on that till Monday, December 14th. So they won't have the updated budget until then.
When is our next meeting?
22nd.
Okay, so
something
that'll
like
be,
that.
that'll be in time for us then.
Okay. She just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
You guys knew that.
All right. Any other business?
Not on our list there.
All right.
How's the are we all set then on this special vote? Anything we got to address on that?
I think we're all set, but I don't know.
Okay, I guess it's mostly in Mariah's, it's in
Right.
her court now, right?
She warned it as being a vote at the town hall, so a drive-through vote, so I guess it's up to her.
Made the paper.
Yep, it did.
And we'll just have to make sure of plowing and things like that, right?
Right.
But she's in charge of tabulation.
Yep.
Sounds good. And I'll try to, yeah, I'll talk to my peeps and see what they say about this town meeting thing.
Yeah, that'd be good to know.
Yeah, I'm sure every town must be flipping out about it.
Gotta be. All right, anything more from West Tunbridge?
No, I'm all set.
All right,
I'd even make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
all right, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
We got it. From the
All
east to
right.
the west.
Monarch is the best.
I like that. Anybody got a good joke before we leave?
The piano.
Oh. There was a joke on Eli's music class today. What was it? If you throw a piano down
What
a
do you get?
mine shaft,
Yeah.
what do you get when you throw a piano down a mine shaft? A flat minor?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that a time? Oh, okay, it is a time joke.
Pretty bad. Okay.
I was
Oh,
thinking, what happens when Eli runs over his little brother when he's trying to learn to drive? You get A flat minor.
it's true. Oh, Lordy.
That's all, folks.
All right,
Okay.
thanks for attending.
You too.
Well, I'm gonna try to sign